All right, let's watch Sabine, ex-Google CEO, calls for mutually assured AI destruction.
Former Google CEO Eric Schmidt is one of the authors of a new strategy paper that says,
Uh-huh.
well on the way to mutually assured AI malfunction. Much like the mutually assured destruction of nuclear war, the threat of a disastrous retaliation, they say, will prevent anyone from developing superintelligent AI. Simply put, they're saying we must
What?
prepare to sabotage others' research projects. I'm not making this up. Let's have a look. Artificial intelligence is a very dangerous technology that can
That's
potentially kill a
weird.
lot of people very quickly. This could happen in many ways, most directly because bad actors use AI for military purposes, terrorist attacks, or cyber attacks. But the problem might not be humans. The problem might be the AI itself. Once computer systems become more intelligent than we are, it'll be very difficult to control them. They might develop their own agenda.
Uh-huh.
Maybe they already have. The
Maybe.
threat is real. Unfortunately,
Okay.
AI safety has fallen by the wayside since Americans had their DeepSeek moment and Trump has removed what little safety requirements the USA had. So, if
Okay.
not AI safety laws, then what?
Then
Well,
what?
this is where the
Oh
new
no.
strategy paper comes in. It's
Yes.
titled Superintelligence Strategy. In it, Eric
Right.
Schmidt and his co authors say we are approaching a situation of mutually assured AI malfunction, MAME for short, like the mutually.
Oh man. I don't know. I kind of lost a lot of respect for Eric Schmidt. I used to think he was a smart guy, I just knew what he was, but it's a bit bizarre. It just feels like he's trying too hard. I don't know.
Assured destruction of nuclear war, it means that the threat of retaliation and escalation deters aggression in the first place. And in the
Mm-hmm.
case of AI, the aggression is the development of superhuman intelligence. They explain that MAME is a situation in which no power dares attempt an outright grab for strategic monopoly, as any
Right.
such effect would invite a debilitating response. This strategic condition represents the potentially stable deterrence regime, and then they make recommendations for how to maintain this situation, which are, well, very blunt. They
What?
recommend that states need to improve their ability to attack AI projects of other states. In their own words, states could improve their ability to maim destabilizing AI projects with cyber attacks. They could identify AI developers' projects or collect information on the professional activities of AI developers, scientists. To spy on AI projects at most companies, all that's necessary is a Slack or iPhone zero-day software exploit.
Yeah, I guess one of my what pops into my head is the reason why they're suggesting this is because for strategic reasons, the U.S. sort of, if you look objectively, it probably could not go toe to toe with China if it was a fair fight. Um, because right now the scale and the speed at which China has been developing and the confidence that they have, and just like across the board, the manufacturing they have access to, the the speed at which their hardware is moving forward, they have ownership over their hardware. They can, from start to finish, they can design and manufacture an entire AI system without it ever leaving the country if they wanted to, and that's what they're pushing towards. The U.S. is far behind with regard to that capability. Um, it used to have the capability, but then it had this strange strategic shift where it focused more on uh, it focused more on maintaining the U.S. dollar as a reserve currency and essentially getting everything that it wanted through that, which was not a bad strategy. It was a strategy. It was just sort of strange that if that's your strategy, why did you also then hand China all of the chips? It's kind of bizarre. But what the US does have, I guess, an advantage and from what I've read and seen, a significant advantage right now is in their ability to perform cyber attacks. So the U.S. is the reigning world champion of cyber attacks, and it seems that they enjoy doing it and they do it very well. And so this is essentially where they're saying, hey, like, let's change it so officially we're all attacking each other, and if we do that, then the U.S. has a better chance of holding the Chinese back. Which is kind of, I guess, cynical way of moving forward, but, strategically it is what it is.
States could also poison data, corrupt model weights and gradients, disrupt software that handles faulty GPUs, or undermine cooling or power systems. They also recommend that states make their attack plans common knowledge, or, as they write, clarify the escalation ladder of espionage and sabotage, because what good is deterrence if the enemy doesn't know they're supposed to be deterred? Furthermore, they say states should build data centers in remote locations. This is to make sure that if the enemy comes to bomb your AI, only the people who work there go up in smoke. I find this a very grim strategy for AI safety that paints a future in which we've given up even trying to collaborate. I must also say that I don't quite see how this would work in practice, because
Well, I mean, how can you collaborate when it's very clear that the objectives and the outlook of the US and China seem to be very different in terms of what they view as a global society? So, I mean, how can you collaborate?
I don't think anyone can tell in advance whether
I'm not saying I'm on this side or that side. I'm just saying that's sort of how the cookie crumbles, right?
research project will get to superhuman intelligence. And if anything, at the moment, American companies are exaggerating how close they are. Though now that I think about it, maybe that's just a ploy to confuse the Russians. Let me instead tell you about a somewhat more optimistic and practical solution, which comes from Esther Dyson. She says that we should require AI companies to get insurance for damages that their products can incur. I find this a brilliantly simple idea because it A, creates an incentive for insurance companies to evaluate the potential harm of AI systems, and B, the insurance costs in return create an incentive for AI companies to make their products safer. The problem with this idea is that it'll make AI products more expensive than they already are. So I doubt that many people besides me will be enthusiastic about it.
I mean, it's kind of tricky. It's like saying, auto manufacturers should get insurance for breakdowns or damage that their cars can create. And so, I mean, the insurance needs to be purchased by the end user. I mean, it would be interesting if we lived in a world where car manufacturers were the ones that needed to own the insurance.
The underlying problem, though, is that we've heard so much about how AI is dangerous and can kill us all. We've just gotten somewhat tone deaf. It's turned into yet another old story that we've heard before. But I think
I mean, again, just keeping perspective, like 100 years ago when they made the steam engine, the same thing. You had these people running around saying robots are around the corner and steam engine robots were going to annihilate and kill us all. So this overreaction and fear-mongering was always there. I'm not sure why it happens and who does it, but I mean, it's not as if robots are, sentient robots are just around the corner. We just don't know.
They're right. Superhuman intelligence is going to...
I guess what I want to say is that the fact that people are running around panicking about, AI is not an indication that superintelligence is just around the corner. It's just this is what people like to do from time to time.
Change the world very quickly and not necessarily for the better. Then again, maybe those fears are overblown. If you want to get rid of a super intelligence, all you need to say is, what if everything in the universe is made of tiny wiggling strings? That ought to keep them occupied for a few decades.
Wow,
Do you know
okay.
the joke about the two guys
Yeah, she couldn't resist, right?
running from a bear? Do you really think we'll outrun the bear, says one of them. And the other one says, I don't have to outrun the bear, I just have to outrun you. That's how I think about internet safety.
That's how I think about internet safety. Okay. Wow, Sabine is becoming pretty cynical. Anyway, yeah, that was the book, and I don't know. Lately, when I watched Eric Schmidt, I can't watch too much of him because it just seems he's trying too hard to be relevant, and it just seems bizarre.